Hey there friends, welcome to another Legally Armed America video. I'm of course Paul Glasgow here, and I'm going to show you once again twisting of the truth, the mocking of good American people, just things that the elitists, the politicians, and mostly the DC type typically do because they look down on us. They do not see us as equals. And I'm going to show you a prime example of that today, how they can do whatever they want. First, guys, I hope you'll check out my friends, Attorneys on Retainer. These guys do a wonderful job. The reason why I switched to Attorneys on Retainer over a year ago was because it's not an insurance company. I know that if I ever have the unfortunate occurrence where I have to draw my carry weapon and use it to defend myself or my family, I know that whenever I make that phone call, I'm going to be talking to, what? An attorney. Not Bob in India, answering the phone and asking me, how can I direct your call? No, this is going to be an attorney who may very well end up representing me, but nevertheless, an attorney on the payroll at Attorneys on Retainer, not some call center that has these entry-level attorneys. No, I've met the attorneys from Attorneys on Retainer. I can show you the 6 or 7 of them out there, which one of them you would be speaking to. Great people, good organization, big things coming with Attorneys on Retainer probably in the next couple of months. You're going to see some really cool stuff come out. I encourage you guys to keep your ear to the ground on that. It's going to be really cool. For now, go to their website, use my code FTATF. Again, use my code FTATF. You're going to get 50% off of your sign-up fee. So that's $50 off your sign-up fee just for using my code FTATF. So you guys heard that Steve Dettelbach was going to resign as ATF Director. He knew he was going to be fired. I guess it's better to use taxpayer money and resign before you get fired, because then they can still use taxpayer money to throw you a going away party, right? Because when you get fired, they don't throw you, you got fired party, right? That's just not how it works. So by resigning, they give him this cushy little party, knowing that the end is near for everybody else too. So let's bilk the taxpayer out of a little bit more money while you're still here and throw you a party to celebrate how you were infringing upon other Americans' Second Amendment rights. If you haven't seen this video yet, I think the first place I saw it was Mike with Mr. Guns and Gear posted it, and John Crump actually did a story on it also. If you haven't seen it, this may enrage you once it settles in what these people are actually doing here. Check it out.
For those of you who don't know, you've heard several times today already that we did several regulations while the director's been here, and I came at the tail end of one of those. But I know you were very involved in those, and we appreciate the support for that. And on behalf of everyone, so this does not need to be traced.
Okay.
Nor registered.
That's great.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
These people are mocking us. They're mocking Americans. I'm a little surprised that they allowed video to be taken from here, because this is usually the activity that takes place behind closed doors. They mock us all the time. We know this, right? We know that we're just little plebes. We're the hillbillies. We're the rednecks. We're the idiots out here who cling to our guns and religion and all kinds of other silly stuff that has something to do with a moral compass that functions at a higher level than a lot of these people. But nevertheless, it's not a surprise that they're mocking us. It's the fact that they are actually showing you that they're mocking us. They're giving this man an 80% lower and giggling and chuckling about it and making jokes about it because we stupid hillbilly rednecks were mad because they were trying to take this away from us. It's a joke. I mean, it's meant to be a joke. It's meant to be sarcastic from them. And why? Because we're the punchline. We're the ones that they're joking about. We're the ridiculous hillbillies out here that want these stupid things that are just so horrible, so horrible. It's how they think of us. These people, I got to go on a little quick rant here. These people have no moral compass. Look at Dettelbach. This pudgy, he looks like a plastic bag full of mayonnaise. Just a pudgy, cushy, mushy. I mean, these people are physical midgets. I'm talking about being in shape. They're definitely ethical midgets when it comes to us. I call them character midgets all the time because their character is so small, and it just not. And again, my apologies to you midgets out there, but you get where I'm going with this. Let's call them character small people. Does that make people feel better? No, I like character midgets better. They see themselves as better than us, and they see themselves as being able to do whatever they want. And the reason why I know that these 80% lowers, receivers, whichever, are not dangerous is because they're making jokes with one. Now, granted, if we were doing this, they would come at us. They would have somebody beating our door down. But they're the professionals, right? Get this one apart. These things are perfectly safe in their hands, but not yours. But I want to point something out. You know where these people are actually having this little powwow at, this little circle jerk here for Dettelbach? They're having it in Washington, D.C. That's right there in the middle of Washington, D.C. Right smack in the middle of everything else D.C. You know what you can't have or you can't do in that building, in that community in Washington, D.C.? You cannot possess a, quote, ghost gun. This is the code from the District of Columbia. Possession of certain dangerous weapons prohibited. No person shall within the District of Columbia possess a ghost gun. Yet, here we are. We have this broad right here, no doubt a token DEI hire, who is possessing a, quote, ghost gun illegally in D.C. She then transfers illegally, this is illegal to do in Washington, D.C. She illegally transfers an illegal item to somebody else, who, by the way, is Steve Dettelbach. He receives this illegal item, and now he is in possession of an illegal item. There was no background check done on either one of those. There are two felons in this video right here, and both of them committed each 2 felonies. But back to us hillbillies. Let's think about this, right? I mean, are they really dangerous? Are, quote, ghost guns? And I have to say quote because it's a stupid nomenclature. The names they make up for these things are absolutely stupid. And then they become the official name of them. They just sound absolutely ridiculous. It's an 80% receiver is what it is. We'll use their phrase because if you're going to search for any kind of data on this, you're going to have to use their phrases because that becomes the official nomenclature for everybody else, including the media. So I had to do a search, and I wanted to pull some official numbers up on this. Now, let's look at the, quote, ghost guns first. Ghost gun seizures nearly triple in 2 years. This is a statistic that is from 2022. Number of suspected privately made firearms recovered by U.S. law enforcement. That's a pretty big jump, right? I mean, if you look over the years, I mean, it's doubling and then tripling. I mean, you're talking about going from 10,000 to 19,000 to 28,000. That's a lot of, quote, ghost guns out there, right? So the reason the ATF is after them is because they must be dangerous, right? I mean, that proliferation of ghost guns has got to be driving the numbers through the roof, especially at the rate that they are panicking and, of course, joking about them because gun deaths are funny. So it's got to be negatively impacting the numbers, correct? I mean, why so much attention on it? Why so much focus? It's got to be through the roof, the numbers, right? Not so fast, my friend. If I look at numbers from our good friends, the Gun Violence Archive, remember, this is the gold standard of politicians and anti-gun people from coast to coast. So I'm using their numbers to show you how dangerous guns are in the United States. Wow. This is from 2024, this past year. Gun deaths declined for a 3rd straight year in 2024. Well, that's deaths. I wonder people getting hurt, how it affected that. Let's look at gun injuries. Oh my goodness. Gun injuries declined for a third straight year in 2024 also. Well, that can't be, because I went back and looked at my numbers, and with ghost guns being such a massively dangerous thing out there, you're talking about this is going to wipe out the entire nation if we don't get our hands around this. With this incredible, amazing proliferation of these ghost guns, surely every single American is in some kind of dire danger right now. So again, looking at both of these slides, gun deaths and gun injuries declining for the third straight year. Look at 2022 there, right? So if I take the numbers of ghost guns, they trend upwards, and not slightly. By their own admission, they've tripled in 2 years. So they tripled from 2020 to 2022. So there's your 2020 to 2022 gun deaths and gun injuries. As you can see, there is a dramatic and consistent increase in the number of, quote, ghost guns out there. But notice we have this spike in 2021 of gun deaths and gun injuries, and that has already been across the board attributed to mainly a higher suicide rate as a result of COVID and a higher crime rate as a result of COVID. They have to blame something, and they're blaming COVID. So that's where that spike is. If you took that number of that spike out, you would actually have 5 years in a row of declining injuries on the gun side, and you'd have a little bit of a bump over there in 2022. But look at the numbers consistently go down, continuing to go down. So if I use their numbers from this original chart on the ghost guns that show that they tripled in 2 years from 2020 to 2022, I have to believe 23 and 24's numbers continue to trend upwards, right? But the gun deaths and the gun injuries continue to trend downward. So I got to ask you, are ghost guns good? Are they safer? Because if they're increasing at such an alarming rate, yet we see a downward trend in the danger associated with firearms in general, then there has to be a reason, right? Can you put your finger on it? Now, I know the Biden administration has hidden numbers and then published them after the election. But other than that, if these people are taking these numbers from the Gun Violence Archive, these are not FBI stats, these are from the GVA, they're using those numbers. And there's a constant and steady trend downward with danger associated with firearms, while ghost guns trend upward. I'm inclined to believe that we need to distribute more ghost guns out there to keep this trend going.
I don't understand the point that you're making.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.